Good morning, students. Let's continue chapter 2 of history with this policy which was introduced by Lord Wellesley in India. To fulfill his political ambition, Lord Wellesley he used the system of subsidiary alliance. According to the terms of this alliance, Indian rulers were not allowed to have their independent forces. They were to be protected by the company and had to pay for the subsidiary forces. So this is the next policy which was introduced by the British in India, Doctrine of Lapse. Lord Dalhousie, the Governor General from 1848 to 1856, he devised the doctrine. It stated that a kingdom could be annexed if the king died without a male heir. So many kingdoms they were annexed under this policy such as Satara, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Nagpur, Jhansi and Awadh. Now we will be talking about the administrative reforms which were made by the British in India. Warren Hastings put an end to the dual system of government in Bengal which was established by Robert Clive in 1765. The company took over the responsibility of administration of the province and started to collect the revenue through the agency of its own servants. Regulating Act of 1773. In 1773, the Regulating Act was passed by the British Parliament. Its main objective was to regulate the functioning of the East India Company in India. And its main features were the Governor of Bengal, he became the Governor General of India. A council of 4 members, it was constituted to assist the Governor General. A Supreme Court, it was established at Calcutta which was comprised a Chief Justice and 3 other judges. Now we will be talking about the Pitt's India Act. So this act it was passed in 1784. In this the number of members in the Governor General's Council it reduced. A board of control was set up in London to look after the civil, military and revenue affairs of the company. Now let's move to the Charter Acts. So 3 Charter Acts they were passed in different years and they were Charter Act of 1813, Charter Act of 1833 and the Charter Act of 1853. Charter Act of 1813. This act was the first step taken by the British rulers for the purpose of educational developments in India. Under this act, 1 lakh rupee it was sanctioned to promote education in India. Let's move to the another Charter Act and it was passed in 1833. The Charter Acts of 1833 centralized the administration in India. The Governor General of Bengal according to the act was declared as the Governor General of India. Governor General in Council got powers of superintendence, direction and control of the whole civil and military governments and the revenue of India. Charter Act of 1853. The law member, he was made a full-fledged member of Governor General's Council. Under this act, the Governor General could appoint 2 or more members to his council whenever required. The council was to exercise its function on the lines drawn by the British Parliament. Let's talk about the judicial reforms. The first judicial plan it was prepared under Warren Hastings' chairmanship in 1772. Here arises that the chaotic state of affairs could be rectified only by the reconstruction of the judicial reforms. The highlights of the judicial plan of 1772 they were that the 2 wings of judicial system they were introduced. Separate courts for civil and criminal cases they were also introduced. It provided for trial courts and appellate courts for civil appellate cases and it also provided the revenue administrative policies. The courts under Warren Hastings. So 2 courts they were introduced by Warren Hastings. One was Sadar Diwani Adalat and second one was Sadar Nizamat Adalat. Sadar Diwani, it looked after civil cases and Sadar Nizamat, it looked after criminal cases. Now we will be talking about the army. In order to have a sound system of administration, it was necessary for the British to organize an efficient army. And it was also required to expand and defend its territories as well as put down internal rebellions. So army, it was mainly consisted of Indian soldiers or sepoys. The higher ranks of the army were reserved for the British. An Indian could rise only to the rank of a subedar. More attention was given to the infantry regiment of the army, and the soldiers, they were trained in the European methods of warfare. Now we will be talking about the police. From 1972, every district were divided into a number of thanas, and the daroga was the head of those thanas. Assisted by policemen in the maintenance of law and order, the darogas of the various police stations were under the district superintendent, who was generally a British. A chokidar looked after the villages and the kotwal maintained law and order.